this dialogue on illegal mining. We know that the issues of illegal mining are dear to your hearts and to the hearts of every Ghanaian. And that's why we decided that from time to time we'll hold this dialogue. This is not going to be the last. We'll hold this dialogue to update you on the progress that we're making in the fight against illegal mining.
By now, I'm sure say so. What to say? What to say about for say the president should declare a state of emergency. Me sure say like by now there are almost about 70% or 80% of the population who maybe has access to media, has heard about it maybe once or twice over the past give or take two or so years. Because I think that phrase was coined by the NDC when they were not in power. Said the NPP government should declare a state of emergency concerning the Galamsey incidences and the impact on the environment. So this video is about some press conference via President Mahama. I don't think it's press conference per se. I think it's a discourse, like some kind of platform they are providing, which is to serve as some kind of notice in their progress towards the elimination of this whole Galamsey debacle. But before I watch the video, like President in his speech, and I said, "Ni dissemination." Because I see a video, I want us to like sort of arm ourselves with the truth, a little bit of past, like history. Senator can say, phrasing it has been in the system for more than 1 year. Because I am quite a chikaka, na shadi because we will video on YouTube, and no can encourage me saying, "Mama, yes, I have a video." We say. So maybe per se a platform we say responsible for all anti-partisan activities and asset discussions. To say this is a place where we all come with unbiased ideas and opinions. We all come here. We all have the same centralized opinions towards individual or different topics, respectively. Yeah, we come here with our background. We don't come here with our parties. Yeah, the experience, the things we know and the things that we have learned. Not like some kind of party affiliation, be like some kind of ancestral, some kind of a spirit to be on Tiasi. Nipano will send your way and your pastor, and then they will be following them. So before we go to the president's dissemination, his discussion with people concerning the progress or some of the solutions and problems that they have discovered concerning the Galamsey topic. So let's watch this video before we go on to that. I like the beat. I like the music in the background. So like they have done it on the timeline, so starting from 2023, I think up to date. So these are some of the things that the politicians said.
They should declare a state of emergency. All mining should
stop NDC now. Man.
Yes, we have to declare a state of emergency. Just as we declared lockdown during COVID, let there be a certain declaration of it. It shows seriousness.
Yes, I think that national emergency be declared now and today, not tomorrow.
No, yeah, Santa MPP is no.
And we will continue this struggle.
Sometimes I NDC opposition, like send on to some MPP sitting government. Now NDC for one of this agenda we only push here. So let's continue.
These are protected. It is his responsibility. The people of Ghana elected him. He is currently the president of Ghana. And it is his responsibility to deal with Galamsey now.
Okay. So far, President Mahama Nakasam being an state of emergency.
Video the gold board was introduced as part of reforms. And if the gold board was not introduced, I mean, those who were taking the profits from the small-scale mining sector were the foreign traders who were taking that money away.
Now, our be president 2025. Oma be president no GOB. Like to say, or promote obi say on declare state of emergency on the mining, illegal mining, the Galamsey issue. But this year, Oba be president. Inti asema work.
6 months, we have exported over $6 billion. About $4 billion of that money was going to go into the private or foreign trade.
That means Oba and still now on stopping you or that's so yeah. Instead of say the impact on the man here worried or the original so yeah in the campaign, I feel the impact we're blinded by the profit. It says here impact, the environmental impact in this animal. No, they can't say they are winning people's favor. Now he doesn't see that anymore. But now the only thing that he sees is the profit. Well, he is the president. He's in charge of the country's finances and economics. I wouldn't talk bad about it. Say, we prioritize the profit over the economic impact. We also prioritize the economic impact over the profit. We also ever try where no what they are obtaining both goals, like what they fulfilling both needs. Obeying profit at the same time on share and cause environmental impact. I think say that is the reason why every country and I say every organization needs a science and research facility. This is quite important. Like that is the only way we can come up with solutions to our problems. Yet me kujamba bina making decisions. Seek professional advice most of the time. And a professional advice, and because it doesn't mean say they doesn't seek professional advice from everything that they do, but they seek external professional advices. Yet a country will say, most schools, most universities, more training professors. Among folk with degrees are ground TV. And he said, if you cannot utilize and answer, apply these people's their knowledge, then what is their importance? If these people, I'm sure, say a lot of professors from different universities almost submitted like some journals and answer some kind of work we are suggested some kind of solution to something and government like a drubebia. And if all the time Omekwa external advisor, they will just come up with a solution like concerning only that small time frame that you are providing them. But say if you seek like internal advisor, you need the beginning of time. You know everything. And any partners or making decision or my advisor or taking all those things into consideration. Like why is it so important? Say we should throw away our past. Like I didn't think I was here, sir. If our goal say we should prepare forward. Inertia doesn't work that way, right? Inertia say to every action there's supposed to be equal reaction. And they are quite chance happening. But maybe name the reason why all the time. You can say, like, like anyhow, we are a pen beer. So let's continue.
Yes. And so the first thing is you shut the stable door so that the horse doesn't escape, which is what we've done. So if it's from illegal sources, it's from legal sources, at least it's our land that is being destroyed. So let us get the benefit of it instead of foreign traders. So
since you propose solution, that's new solution on the buy and say they say good no, not a before baby. Instead of say a baby declare state of emergency, see enjoy Galamsey. But since you can before baby, you see I closing doors in the afternoon. Can give for baby. There's some assassin no cry or one say no, but Sikana yet after all, a assassin to say na inyeshi. Ubia or the end the campaign say moment was.
That's the first thing. I've been reluctant to implement a state of emergency in the Galamsey fight because we've not exhausted the powers we even have without a state of emergency. We have the opportunity to arrest anybody.
What does that mean? We have not exhausted the power that we have without declaring a state of emergency. That means before the declaration of a state of emergency, the government has certain powers that that they sort of like exercise concerning certain issues. And then after the declaration of state of emergency, that power sort of like changes. So it could be say, if the government may have a certain power over a certain organization before let's say maybe 70% power over that organization before the declaration of the state of emergency. So after the government declares such state, then the government sort of like becomes like 100% ownership of the whole organization, and that he can make decisions or sort of like enforce laws without any or like without any objection, like obi anti stopping until at that point the government any declare state of emergency and then about be any dia until on the name of offer so be regulating or be controlling. So I think if something is going on and the government doesn't know how to control, the best thing to do, although there may be ways around it, but I don't see how after the declaration of the state of emergency, you cannot exercise the powers that existed before the state of emergency. Why can't you just exercise both? I mean, like the powers that comes after the declaration of the state of emergency, they do not eliminate the powers that existed before the state of emergency. So I don't see how you are reluctant by the fact that there are powers that you have not exhausted yet before the declaration of emergency. So why don't you just sort of like use both? So use the powers that comes after the declaration of state of emergency and use that one that existed before it. Like just use both. It's effective that way. If you truly want to do what you said before you were elected, then I think that's what you do. But then again, I think this is the reason why we are doing this video. I think his speech on his first discourse, which he said that there will be many after on the Galamsey issue, I think maybe he would say something that was sort of like compel us to maybe incline with him when he said that he wanted to maybe shut the stable doors and continue Galamsey for a while. After all, it's our land, and he doesn't want to exhaust the power that may come after the declaration of state of emergency, and that he wants to exercise all those power that exists before the declaration of emergency. So maybe there's something that he will say that will maybe sort of convince us to agree with him. So let's continue with this video.
To confiscate any such thing, there are laws for forest protection and all that give us enough powers to be able to act.
So why don't you?
Implementing a state of emergency might sound nice, but it should be the last extreme, the last resort.
If we don't fight for the Ghana,
so what should happen? Like what have to happen before we resort to the last resort? Like now the land is Basa, the Insu is like Tom Brown. Now everything is Basa. People are killing each other. They are forming campaigns. Probably sex rings too. They are doing drugs, obviously. They are kidnapping people. They are trafficking people. Like what should happen again? Like like half of the country should break down and crumble like bread. Like what a day people to say almost trying say meet you and don't feel so man talk one son or one declare state of emergency. Now say because at this point, see, there are some countries they can just take care of this problem like very easy. They wouldn't need to resort to the declaration of a state of emergency. They can do that like some kind of backyard garden. But this is a sign of how powerless we are and how we should be hasty on to solve that problem. We should start to accrue some power. Like we have to start to like sort of develop our so that we can come up with new ideas. And I don't see the reason why the people that the government, the educated people that they have trained with their institutions are just sitting there lacking the chance to sort of like exercise what they were taught by the government. You see, like for the government, Government now here's how do it so that they can come and serve you. Now they are just there wasting away. So Mimi Shaden him say, what is the last resort? Like and then they will say what should happen and suddenly they resort to the last resort. Because people are dying. Meaning to me, any plan and I say any events that involve people die, it's extreme for me. Like a DBA and EP would be too much money. So even if say a single person there would die accident, but this is the last resort. Like we should resort to that. So let's continue.
That we want will not get the Ghana that we need. So if His Excellency the President, and I know see the President, and see the President, and I know him a bit. He's a good, nice man. Whatever is holding him, I don't know. John Mama is a good, fine man. His brain is on point.
Like, no doubt, me, every day I say this all the time. Mr. Mahama has a lot of brain power. Like, me, from the way he sort of interprets the things that he say, how he keeps tracks of all the words that most of the time he use, the gibberish, how to make them sensible to all of us. I think is a wonderful application of brain power right there. But I mean, come on, we are all fighting for the future here. Like, what does he have to gain? What does he have to gain? Mimi, that's my question. What would they gain from this? Because obviously this is a lie. If they say that the previous government should have declared a state of emergency, but now they are in power and they are refusing to declare a state of emergency because they feel like they have not exercised or extinguished all the powers that the environmental protection agencies can offer in solving this issue. Like, if they know this, then why were they pressuring the previous government to declare a state of emergency? Like, if they knew this. So let's continue.
His children are sweet people. I can't understand that he would think of other people's children to drink this water. I don't think the first lady in her sanity would ever sit down and approve of any of this when one of the people she loves the most has died.
Serious, this is a Cold War.
Why should the minister of lands be raving and ranting as if he's the only one on this?
Like, in a way, if you think about it, this is terrorism. In a way. You understand? In a way. We have people who are terrorizing the land. They are degrading the environment. If this continues, it will be as if, say, Obi a small bomb, like, baby, let's continue.
Street. Where are the people who said 1 week? Sam George, my brother, Igbo, yo. Okujato, where are you? We have to call you out. My own brother runs in down here, Paul. You cannot change your mouth. Please, it's not about your party. It is about Ghana. There should be something we should stand for.
Yes, by the way, in case you are wondering, my channel, this is all about. Like, this is about Ghana. It's about the people, our protection, our safety, our future. I think this man is making a lot of sense. I have to draft him in my army. Let's continue.
Sam George said the president can solve this in 1 week by doing what? Declaring a state of emergency. And that's true. If any president were to declare a state of emergency, nobody goes there. So
it's
that's
true.
That will solve the problem.
It's true. That will solve the problem.
That is true. And if you say these things and you come to government and say that, well, we are in government, as you just said, that the turbidity of the water is getting worse under your government, worse than when you said we should declare a state of emergency. At a certain turbidity level, you said declare a state of emergency. Turbidity level becomes worse. You now have the...
So, in his time, and then about by worse, but on the moment, has also encouraging the continuation. This is weird. This is strange.
You tell us that you don't want to declare a state of emergency, and we should listen to all this beautiful English being spoken by a lawyer that we have done this, we have done you and this and that. All that is okay. It's a political question. The acting Chief Justice told the bar conference this week that the Galamsey has become worse under President Mahama. Felix Kwachofosu, the government communication minister, says he needs evidence of that. He needs evidence of the fact that... He needs
evidence of what? He needs evidence.
Has become worse. He said nobody has provided the evidence.
Wow.
He doesn't have the evidence. Kolebu Teaching Hospital is reporting things. He doesn't have the evidence. The turbidity of the water from Ghana Water Company, he doesn't have the evidence.
Wow.
These are the matters that is making the politics unbelievable.
But you see, that is the funny thing about it. When they were not in power, when they were not in the position, like when they were in the position of not being able to acquire evidence, they acquired evidence. Sometimes I know evidence, evidence. And the Bible presents partisans said, I feel there, being power now, I feel there all the evidence, they have access to all the evidence now. I feel there evidence, so partisans. Let's continue.
So this is the situation confronting the NDC. It is true that that state of emergency could stop Galamsey. It is true. The NDC were right in opposition, and those saying today are also right. Now this is the situation. NDC was in opposition, says that the thing is at 20%. You need to declare state of emergency, Mr. President. NDC comes to office at 60%, and they said, oh no, that's state of emergency. It will come later. Galamsey yes own the politics. Council of State, Mr. President knows. Everybody knows the kind of people who are there, that you find the people in there. The executive, they are there. Parliament, they are there. The only place where they are, in fact, even the media, some of them own the media.
No, if what Papa, I have to go and search his name. I think most of the things that he say, I don't have evidence to back what he's saying, but it looks like it's true. Because maybe a similar unity. So it's almost as if we are considering the lives and I say the decisions of these rich men over Niska. Because listen, let me try and break down how Galamsey started. Using a reference, the American boom, oil boom. Satama almost started to discover oil in Texas. Satama America not check. So people left their home. Salt and say, and no more Texas. All in search to go and to take crude oil. Na say adwuma we say, enye adwuma ketwa o. Crude oil no ho. Gas na ewom. They are a different cylinder. One say no pokura say leak here, eja etimi cause. Now imagine say crude oil na yenya fractional distillation. Bibia everything is inside. Gas wom, you can say petrol wom, diesel wom, kerosene wom, BP everything is inside. Imagine say adwuma we say. Enti omo during that time no mo kwa maybe the name ni kwa no mfa so ye no without the use of machines. But after omunya sa omo pump na omo timi take kwa from, even though say na all technology and say these days then more safer than first Indian. But I'm talking about first Indian no na enipa gu basa. People used to die all the time. It wasn't good. I'm sure say a lot of people found whom is scam. That was the reason why it was called oil tube. Like Obia person go to oil you need cotton. Because almost liquid gold. So I understand say if something like this okay and I say if civilization gets to that point that there are some people who are if they are capable and have the resources. Because if now person can take it for oil nipia, you needed resources. Although omo mutimi strike oil first in the omunyes can be me upgrade here. Omo so went me anya no omo dey say cake tools near there do omo dey for bugu here stories in the torso. But you see if you take the same example you can compare it to ours. Galamsey no ho. First nanka companies are obuska specifically name of companies and need to go on Ghana. No, with the first one Santaman Emrofone ba Africa first. Or mobile. Na ye yanka say you good buy ye good night to ye na nanom na ye. Minime kwa am fast on me but me sure say na wo form pa. After all Ghana it's a good one. It's me sure say na good night will just lying around say you kai. Enti after some time na Emrofone buy o mbeti say good ni na kwa ya. Mining companies eba be structured. After na news ni ya be too much say yes good Ghana. It is hard time. So now we scar or resources. We bet me a crack excavator near the idea. Why we bet me a year have to drop one because although not saying a man for doing one sunny a cake to the year, not people were doing that. Until OBS or the pine only at the adno or whole good new ones winning near New Yeska. Nasa feel bet me a crack or excavator, not crack or crack, no the assassinate you be at the either hope it into wow quite bet me a yes ad. Although not a man for also one sassy or matama companies, it's not big companies in the only machines, proper machines, and almost also so ya was as I am more permission so many also. But na small scale for now on the pan when it's our mutus in the who so in India. No money who quite, but sometimes no money in visa. And I feel here, Nipa no Timinia good, Onya good nipping after Wababi Yeska. On Timin Sam and for pine non Sam Coco Yipu. It was all and big companies with you, also in your machines. But only who papers because of a small scale miner. And your own Timidia, and there was all I had Nikulu, also in the cool line. Into both say, Omoya. Regulation be and almost no one says as a nepoto. Inti, we no, a ya after all, what the excavator and new few ports near the Adibang will teach you a bribe and the Ababi Drew or buy so be uncashing, will be an because I feel no started a crime. One the first person nobody. Why ya for bear 2-3 years after when you scam. After a month for who and so said, I do wait me a young scan. After Nipa 2-3, Nipa 4, 5, 6, 7, we say, when you're bound to Galamsey now, a small skin, a baby at the Cassie Biama. So I say, oil boom, American oil boom now. But one thing they say, American oil boom, as it was going on, you won't say a month because of the poor infrastructure, the health and safety related accidents in it, and no more try say, government may try say, either say, Obelisi, sir, activity we say. I'm a big company. I'll bet me meeting regulations. Nina, and now say on one Casabay and Hadi. Into a name of you. It is a small skill put. Nasa Uba. Nasa Ubet me meeting our regulations when na Mema Kwame. A woman a bad inspection. So who causes problem? One, yet over court. It's a big company. Subanas on also meeting regulations when you are yet the Bamana Manaye. And yes, as I see when I want to assess their movie, but I wasn't Nipa no Coco government. Now I go like where government here the Esisu because assassin one in the crew. It's the government the one so two are unipi. A small scale oil force almost to be. Big company funds almost so to be. It is a Kaye Hanum say the na aqua person to one. And can Mimi can say young partners small scale miners. But if they should do that, then they should do it under regulation. But Oman Yamsa, and I didn't Ababe drew this point. And at this point in the me suggesting solution is say, me simple and short solution is say, or more and declare state of emergency. I think that will solve it. So we declare we are not organizing a maybe or we bet me I employ to say, bet me I small scale miners no regulations and I say regulatory requirements. So we follow fine, what to us. At the end of the day, so almost destroy this environment. Now they move to the next one. They have to make sure say the previous one has been reclaimed. You understand? Me even land reclamation. I don't really believe in say it should be an artificial process. But this country we are still in the early stages. We have to be hasty in certain things. Fine, the consequences will come. We pay later. That one is more beneficial. And I say more preferred. Say you better press for no reason at all. You understand? So let's continue.
Yeah. Where's our hope? If Mr. President will not do it, it's okay. I'm tired. I've suffered under every government. You guys can come and punish me. It's okay. Somebody should die for something. Money, my brother.
And only answer no. Nobody wants to die.
His own people cannot even make what he died for even count. They are thinking that they've raised 3.something million or something billion using government donations and all that blah 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 to use that to mask and say I'm thinking of your family. That's the small thinking that you
Ghana.
Small thinking. Until you give people money and that is it. It's not just what he wants. He wants you to.
No, but it's true. We have to stop imports by money. Sikana ya de toy no the. I bet the regulatory is too much. I say, I don't say no lie.
This country. That's why Omani would have been a fine president. Please. We should stand for something. If you're an NDC man and this is happening, talk to your people. Stand out. You should have honor.
It's true.
You can be an MP with reasonability, with mandate, with allegiance to the Constitution of Ghana. And you see this and keep quiet. You come and have the audacity to come and even discuss the fact that the president never used the word state of emergency. Nonsense. Do you have a heart?
But it's true. Say never use the word state of emergency. I stated that earlier. By in his after he was in power, what he was saying, I think he said state of emergency. I think he on one casa admitted or casa. So nipa bi a ɔbɛka sɛ president and kasa state of emergency bi even though say they are right but they shouldn't say that because I mean come on.
Do you have a conscience?
Because
They should declare state of emergency. All mining should just stop now.
Just as we declared lockdown during COVID, let there be a certain declaration of it. It shows.
Send papa ya metaya na reaction video YouTube you made a video for it. There be an any aje wa bi enum ai. O ka say NDC ni bia ba ka asema fa mahama ho dia one na ye adwuma on the cabinet it will nim. It is so therefore say me o ka bia to send your mahama ne kai. Enti I think say omatimi aka asem na reach that conclusion dia then you betimi take that same argument and apply to these circumstances. So to like if say we put the one NDC person, we need 2 NDC people so far among 2 as a 3, 5, 4, 4 as a visa. Enti we the confirmatory test and your back 2, 3. Enti I don't. Let's continue.
Seriousness.
People are beginning to tell me that in the next
Madam, who that? Wow. Like me. To say Oba, like to say Oledi, like Nenija politics, like I'm excited. Like I'm like, okay, like she can be a mentor to like the girls, to the women in the country. Like you understand to say the politics should not be left to the men alone. Like even though to say I believe in most of conservative values, but man, women and women, I don't really see the difference in us. I mean, there's a difference in like some kind of the natural order, but you see, the natural order demands say, baby, I didn't know fatwa, Obama buy no buy, but that doesn't mean say Obama so for sourcing Oba. It just means say Oba reporting more Obama. Like I think it just follows the natural order. Obama buy and Oba buy. So Obama niwa Oba intimate. So it means that they are equal. But just say this one reports to this one because we were two way. And just say about you say we were two and join. So it's the same thing. It means that a man or money interested in politics are like to say they are behaving like they are not important. I think I want to see more of that.
next election, don't vote for him. People are this. I go in the streets. I don't go to the universities. I'm on the streets. People on the streets are now telling me don't vote for him. NDC is going. That one went. We'll send this one out. We don't care who's coming. We'll vote for that person. We'll try that.
No, actually, be careful who is coming. No, be careful. Now we have seen the mistakes. Now we have seen the bad ones, the ones that are not good for us. So if somebody comes and then maybe if that person has some of those bad ones, then no. But if that person comes and then if that person doesn't have any or as much as possible, as little as possible, as those bad ones, maybe we can consider such person. So I think this is a learning experience for all of us. So let's continue. And besides, your man has been in office for, I think, for 9 months. It's true. Cascading effect. 9 months will turn into 1 year. 1 year will turn into 2 years. 2 years, 3. By the end of the day, So, but I want to know, what will he gain from continuing this Galamsey? Like, what will he gain?
Person. Can you imagine? This is not a joke.
I think it's true. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. This is an attack. This is an attack on our land itself, by ourselves. This is like this is you. Let's go on to the president's speech because I don't know how I can talk to this without losing sight of the objective of this video. So let's go on.
Please be seated. Let me begin by thanking all of you for honoring us with your presence at this first dialogue on illegal mining. We know that the issues of illegal mining are dear to your hearts and to the hearts of every Ghanaian. And that's why we decided that from time to time we'll hold this dialogue. This is not going to be the last. We'll hold this dialogue to update you on the progress that we're making in the fight against illegal mining.
So the president is going to do this regularly. Like, I just want to say, like, pinpoint that there's no need for this to progress, to go on. There's no need. You can just declare a state of emergency now, solve the problem now, regulate everything now, and then move forward and go. You don't have to come back. Right now, if you continue with this, you are going to go back and front, back and front, back and front, and then you are going to do this. You are going to make speeches. You are going to discuss, and then you are going to. I mean, come on, just let's continue. Let's just play along. Because this is going to be interesting.
Mining in Ghana has been historical.
Like, this is going to be interesting because I think these people, they are taking their own. So let's continue. There are a lot of questions I want to ask concerning this, and I'll ask them in due order and in due moment, and I think I'll come up with my suggested answers and my suspicion. Let's continue.
And when the first Portuguese arrived in Elmina, one of the first things we sold to them was gold, and that's why they built the fort in Elmina. Our grandfathers were involved in mining. The problem.
So that is as far back as this gold transaction goes. Like, let's just assume that that's where it started. And from buy, I don't gold mine. When a gold transaction started by, like when the need for gold became like an economic issue. So let's continue.
The difference between then and now is that they use rudimentary tools to undertake the mining. Okay. And so the capacity to create destruction to the environment was very limited.
It was say that time rudimentary tools, just say unsophisticated tools to say excavators and then there's drills and this animal. It's a rudimentary tool example to say saw name, spade, ne shovel, this animal. You see, they are simple tools. To me, there's no damage and I said destruction at the back also assassin with spade and not shovel and not pickers. And shut down your case compared to damage or the excavator, a bit also assassin. Like excavator on nanti or would the name for Kwame says so crana or buquaning or the name nanti so say. And this is no person to say during year and another times. A pencil. Not two almost they were rudimentary to say, not a almost shouldn't need 2 minutes or best say as let's continue.
The whole equation changed when the small scale mining sector started deploying heavy earth-moving equipment. Before, it was only the big scale mining sector that was involved in using excavators and.
Indeed, assembling in a sign like after say small scale miners now use rudimentary tools to say pickers near them. Almost starting so use big machines to say big companies. It means say senior mechanic they compare to American oil boom. Now big companies they were using big sophisticated machines, but it was regulated. It even though they were causing much destruction and harm to the environment. After they are done, when they move to the next concession, they reclaim the previous one. And I said they did it in such a way that even though they will destroy the earth, they will do it in a protected manner and as the environment. But sometimes they not small scale miners no million years how to use. And Nipa are open while you're here, Juma, when you go there, and ultimately shape machines need be by you, send them a kind of paper. So let's continue.
Bulldozers and huge dump trucks. At a point in time, the small-scale mining sector, which is a legal sector of our mining, it was passed in PNDC time to allow, because we realized that the big mining companies were owned by foreign companies.
And
Ghanaian small-scale companies that had the capacity to mine were prevented from doing so. And so the mining code was revised to add for small-scale miners.
One Ghana for your way, sir. Ye to me pass a law say. So small scale miners na they are feeling legalize one because say first not big scale miners and asset companies it was owned by white people. It's now quite say white people who need to participate in mining activities. And to include black people, Ghana for in Ghana activities too. Activity now of course white for in our country. And to include us in it now it was a sense of special embra. Yes, I could share special embra into the constitution and allow the citizens now inherit as assembling more resources. Into me and dream who say, see it me funding and one answer, see it me regulate at me here. Like a wound, you say, better you legalize small scale, like you're instead of say, you better small scale miners, they say, Moon Pesca, now moon funding, more resources, more established company, although we are small scale here, but most at your most starting year. More regulating, more follow your regulations. Now, yes, over time, you will grow and become big like the big companies. Like, obey to me, our first advice now, but the proper solution, I say the best solution is say, including the constitution, say, because of say, big scale miners now me regulated and I say illegal. Ghana, rough the entity. Then legalizing illegal small scale mining. Like that was the solution. That was the best solution. That was the fantastic. This was done by the PNDCP. Like this is DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. Like they are trying to include a diverse race in an ongoing activity. Yeah, this one this is even funnier than hell because we are not the minority. We are the majority in our country. So how come that we have turned into the minority in this situation? Like, how come that somebody is doing something in our country and we are not contributing to it? But then we have to write a constitution that will include us to it. It's like, to say, DEI, an example of DEI, American, they say, you see black people empire this year. And to say, homotourism, sir, percentage of anchor the pass it, black people know, you're tipper for, and to say, white Bruni, the 80%, and a pass here, sir. Black people at the ABA 60% and a pass 60% do any a it's swabber from say the black people betting me. Until one say one thing they say instead of saying Quebec small scale mining for say omunko equip omunko ready no more brown. Ya nkasa asem na nche omu. Ya tiban so. Ya force what trail mra ya shame. Ya regulate and mra ya suit ya. Let's continue.
And as I said, there's a difference.
Yes, that's one sarcophagus problem about. Let's continue.
Between small-scale mining and artisanal mining. Artisanal mining was what existed before, using pickaxes and shovels and so on and so forth. But when the new licenses for small-scale mining started, and they could afford to bring in excavators and bulldozers and others, it meant that the ability to destroy the environment.
He's trying to say, before Galamsey anything about starting, although there's no crime against somebody going around searching for natural resources, like there's no crime in treasure hunting. So before the Galamsey started, now it was artisanal. It wasn't an issue. It was just normal people going around looking for things. You understand? They were just searching for things. Because of say not big companies now they Ghana, no more mining, no more rough. They had to include say small scale mining illegal. Omode ka ho na be and afedia omo artisan tools ni na to kuye. Afedia omakwa ko piska e de akwa ko to machines. Machines no enye adwuma to say big companies no, but it me here adwuma like enye pepepe, but machines no it me force ma out me nya gold. By at the end of the day, some machines no ever say resources in pasa. Some machine yeah, just a protected environment. Yeah, say into good. Into whatever comes after there, it doesn't concern the machine and then the user too, because any anything not is capotoy. Into so unya the sa and run baby shimwa. In a way, what enforce a man for say omunkoye day, omunkoye Galamsey. It once said before and said on this time, Ranema say, Eba say, I feel the small scale mine is waiting higher. Now Galamsey is 30 you. It was just treasure hunting. It was just people looking for resources in the environment. And once when you're a pampan tree, Adipina, or they are washing sooner, when you go back, or the coffee, or the cotton. But CCA, your maybe you be legalizing and say it has become part of the economic infrastructure. No dear. People have to do it. And you don't know why you be. So it's a problem. And why the cause it? Is it the PNDC who caused this problem? The progressive people, the NDC people, or the Galamsey people who cause it? It is Senka Owan Shasamrana. It is Castena people who practicing artisanal mining. That's what it means. Maybe I'm just breaking down what you say. So let's continue.
Environment was expanded. And that is where we currently have our problem. I want to assure you that we are determined to win this fight. And
no more moments the clap.
And your contributions, your criticisms, your pressure, putting fire under our feet does not have any problem. We don't have any problem with that.
Sir, Mr. President, if you have a problem with that, that will make you a hypocrite because you did the same thing. Now you don't have any option but to like it. If you ask, be no more pressure. I can absolutely assure you 100% say, be no more pressure. People don't like complain. We have people who don't complain when pressure arises. But nobody will go say, hey, pressure and give pressure. Like nobody, including you too. But in this situation, we are liking pressure. So you have to, or you are hypocrite. So let's continue.
You must continue to do your advocacy.
That's what I'm doing. I'm advocating.
To urge us on, to encourage us to win the fight.
Okay.
As I said in the last media encounter, I said that I had no illusions that within 7 months I was going to win the fight against Galamsey.
That is not an illusion. Winning the fight within 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months is not. That is the reality. Like just deploy soldiers, just go, stop them. That is all. This can happen in like 3, 4 days. That's all. They just reclaim the land. That is all. I'm sure you have people who are in charge, like environmental protection agencies in places. They can sort of like reclaim the land. I don't think we need external people for that. So all you have to do is just seize the land, just protect the land for a while, and then maybe if the land belongs to the nation, then you can occupy it and then maybe establish a company or a mining company. You can establish mining companies on each land of concession, and then you can sort of like do this yourself. You can regulate it. And if somebody is interested in buying, you can sell to the person and make sure that that person follows regulations, and then we can all do it together. There's no need to like make this turn into a drama. So unless there's something that they will benefit from, so let's continue to watch.
And I said that it wasn't going to be an event, it was going to be a process.
So that means time.
Mistakes have been made. In the first effort we made, we go into a forest reserve. We mapped out the forest reserves that had been that had incursions of illegal miners, and we deployed the first wave of our security services. They scored a lot of successes. In a short time, they had cleared some of the major forest reserves that were called no-go areas. Unfortunately, after we cleared the illegal miners from there, the security services withdrew and handed over the forest reserve to the Forestry Commission. And so they put their forest guards there. The forest guards don't have the capacity to defend the reserves against the illegal miners.
So after the army cleared the no-go areas, and then they handed over the areas to the Forest Commission, but then the Forest Commission didn't have the capacity. Like, why didn't they ensure that they didn't have the capacity before handing it over? Like, why did they hand it over to them in the first place? Like, where are they going? Like, to say, apart from this, in Tokwa baby on the like, It's almost penten, more quiet, almost free assassin, so I fa. Then you call almost quiet, into almost quiet, say almost quack claim as almost quack sake almost free assassin. So na almost jam will be na yasabe assassin view, na almost a quack or conto view, na almost a jam will be view, na yasaba beji, no masako conto ade. And before we say, hey, let's continue.
And so, lessons learned were that in the next wave, with the formation of NIMOS, that we must deploy the military on a sustained basis, rather than when we make some wins, we withdraw them. But it comes with a cost, because if you send troops and station them permanently to guard the forest reserves, we must feed them, we must provide them with fuel, we must give them vehicles and all the logistics they need to be able to do that.
Say, na ega, more draw budget, fans, more edit to one army security in this animal like almost the other day to say. I don't draw budgets now, scan over the other day. Na almost a quack my jumana already a dinka a set aside budget amono. Most about the set aside budget viewers amon view. Look what you read them in Tiasica to the moment and trust now.
And so that links up with Franklin's question about budget. We need a substantially bigger budget than we have currently to be.
These people are making up excuses. No, this is an excuse. No, you cannot tell me, sir, like using a person who is already in your employment would require you to set aside another salary, like somebody who you're already paying. You're asking them to do something. Now you have to give them salary again. This is an excuse, obviously. This is to delay time. Listen. Time is money. Time is money. Whatever it is that they are doing, whatever it is that they will get from this delay of state of emergency, whatever time it is that they will waste, I think they will get something from it. But the how they will do it, that is where I'm confused. So let's try and figure it out.
Hearings have started. The budget for next year is going to be presented to Parliament. And my expectation is that the Minister of Finance will give a much bigger allocation to this fight against Galamsey.
Hey,
we also
so that means the people who are in your employment, your own security people, who are you are already paying, you are asking them to do something, their job for once, their job, man. That is their job. That is what they do. Because the Ghana Army, they are in the country. Like nobody really knows what they do. They just go up and down. Nobody will know what's going on. Fortunately for us, we have never been in a position where we had to like go to war with another country. Fortunately for us, it is a blessing from God. So it's a good thing that we have an army. We already have an army, even though we don't need them. But should in case we do need them, we have them. The army is there. Now we need them. We have them. There's no need for you to set aside any funds again. Just imagine how much money, how much taxpayers' money these people have spent on salary, on everything that they need. We make sure that we keep them fed. They are well looked after, the army in the country. They have everything that they need, the respect and everything. Ghana Army person can just slap you and you wouldn't think twice about it, because that's the level of respect we have for them, even though that's about to change. But that it has been there since the beginning of time. So that is there, even though they don't really fight any wars or risk their life in any active way. I'm not talking about peacekeeping and stuff, like actively, like we are in a war with a different country, like World War I or World War II, but still they are important. So now we have them. Now we have people who are trying to take advantage of the law that you people passed, the PNDC, that you people passed, which sort of like equips people to become criminals, like legally. And now they are practicing that. And now you are in government. And now you have to do something about it. You say you are deploying your army, the army that they are there, but even though you never needed them, but you have them in case you need them. Now you need them. Now you have to deploy them. You have been paying them for something that they don't do, and now they are about to do it, and now you want to pay them again. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So let's continue. I mean, this will provide an opportunity for employment. I mean, I think this is an act of terrorism, and then the government should employ should draft a lot of people into the army, and maybe the money that we can reclaim after the money that we make after we reclaim these mining sites and sort of like operate it, the government operates it by its own, the profit that we get, you will get some to afford salaries for people that the government would hire or draft into the army. I think this is how development looks like. So I don't see how the government is not declaring a state of emergency and starting this project already. Like, what is wrong?
Our troops are stretched. We have so many chieftaincy disputes all over the country, land disputes. And so you go to Sampa, we have troops there. You go to Gonjaland, Savannah, there are troops there. You go to Boko, there are troops there. You go to Nkwanta, our troops are there. And then our troops are also on the border to protect us from.
So President Mahama is trying to say that our troops are playing internal security warriors. Like, if a country with the size of these places that he mentioned, like, attacks us, like, either we will defeat them or they will be in the draw with us, because that is the amount of soldiers that we have. Like, these soldiers, they have been in 5 places. In TCM says soldiers, if they are like 50, then they are 10 in each place. So that means the whole number of soldiers is 50. And I mean, so many sure say what the president is trying to say is you are distributing all our army, so they are stretched thin into these 5 places. If you told me that these 5 countries, that makes sense. These 5 places, that means the army is small. That means we need a lot. We need a lot, big brain. So this would be an opportunity for the government to employ people. So I employ a man for all the Omo Boko ne Sampane, they should be there. Those who are on the border, they should be there. Now the newly drafted people, Omo Kwaya say Jumane, isn't that simple? Like, academy, why would you need to like set aside budgets, all this? So let's continue.
Terrorism. And so,
yes, it's terrorism.
Thing. If we take another batch of them and go and put them in the forest, it means that we are committing most of our troops to other things other than crime prevention and keeping us safe.
But you see, the troops are not responsible for crime prevention. This is why I said that our army is playing internal security heroes. It's like they are doing the job of the police. This is the job of the police. This is the job of the police. So if the army, the soldiers, they are now trying to contain crime, then what are the police doing? Like, what is going on? What is that? What is that on their motto, on their sign? Like, crime and stuff. What does it mean? What are they doing? So let's continue.
And so that's why NIMOS is a combination of the police and the army. So all of them contribute troops. And then we also have national security also contributing, and all the other agencies. But happily, we have some additional troops coming with the winding down of some of the peacekeeping theaters. And so when they come, as many of them as possible, we'll add them to the force so that we're able to dominate all the...
So instead of drafting people and also employing the young men, the beautiful, strong, handsome, capable young men in the country who are unemployed, by the way, which is an issue, by the way. No, he's bringing new people, peacekeepers. They should come. Welcome. No, we are nothing. Nobody cares.
The Galamsey sites and be able to win the battle. As he said, we have targeted 7 major zones in the regions, and the army have come up with a proper strategy. NIMOS has come up with a proper strategy for engaging the illegal miners and making sure that we clear them from especially the forest reserves and the water bodies.
I will imagine so. What you know, what the Akukonto Kwao, a claiming land, a Jayama forest guards. Now later, we must have a Galamsey for us about a GP. I feel almost a quack attack you. I feel I say this is the first time or more quack bears at the tea. Now they have a plan to say, as in the first time, no, we here and what happened to it. This is what they have.
One of the important successes is the change in the whole issue of excavators. Excavators came in huge quantities, and I remember that at a point under the previous administration, they asked that permits be gotten before excavators are imported. Meanwhile, the law did not say you should get a permit after, but that was what we came to meet.
The law said that you should get a permit before you understand you import such an excavator. But senior papa yes ya can say on can say as a man for as you say the law suggested say you get your permit after worshiping or excavator. They knew say you should get the permit before the excavator, but people were paying their way through the system. And remember, can't you say, you see that this is like they knew. And remember, something different. So let's continue. Like you and Kasa, you are involved. We know about government movement. So all these things you know. I am assuming this is the reason why Mube Kasa in a vague manner, I like to say, you leave people wanting for understanding. But I'm here, so let's continue.
That you bring the excavator, then you go to the Ministry of Transport and ask for a permit. But the law actually says that you must get a permit before you import the excavator. And so now we're enforcing that law. And so you can't bring an excavator in, you can't put it on a ship. And we're telling the shipping agencies, if you bring an excavator for which there's no permit, we shall...
Like, when was that law, like when did they start to enforce that law? Okay, the answer is now. Before that time, Papa were like or no announcing the government, like they never. Let's continue.
They penalize you, the shipping agency, for carrying that excavator here to Ghana.
I'm not saying that I disagree. I agree.
We came to meet
you should provide the permit
of
before.
Excavators in the port.
Okay.
And that is what the lands minister was explaining to you, that we had to decongest the ports because there was no more space for anything.
If these people they are providing permits after these people import these excavators, any excavator now needs to see one if you find a buy. Like where did they come from? Because I'm sure these were seized excavators from people who couldn't provide permits. But what about the Toso? Like, let's continue.
To the military,
you came to meet them.
Space at the Shire Hills and other locations, and we've corralled them there.
Joma distributing.
One of the successes too is the registration of excavators. Even though the law requires excavators to be registered, nobody was registering their excavator, and so. If you look at the DVLA records, there was no registration of excavators. And so anybody could bring in an excavator and take it straight into the forest. Today, we're...
Now, sir, if people were not registering their excavator, like, and no, why fault? Is it a government fault or... Because the government should make sure that they enforce that people do register them. So... Okay, let's continue.
Find that every excavator must be registered with the owner of the excavator known. And once that is done, like you said, we started putting trackers on the excavator so that we know exactly where they are going to. It's not only illegal mining.
And you know, Papa he said two things. This man is very clever. Or say, first, excavators, they were not registered in the DVLA system. Until they didn't know others and I say any information pertaining to anything about it at all. But say excavators be free, harbor. And now distributed such said excavators. Now first you signal say first not be register. We see a bar, like to say in the future tense, say, but now you're registering in the trackers, abu boom. Suggesting, say, a man for the no mind sow. But that's a more kind. Your personal company say, sir, excavators now, or mobile 2 year, or harbor home. Oma register at the trackers, abu boom. Now, me question me want to say if you do not have like authority over something, what gives you the right say ube to me and monitor? Because monitoring and output and answer the profit, they are almost the same. It is a ube to me tracking me means excavator. That means say what they are, because you are monitoring and outputting. So it me bisa say Papa will say the delay in that declaration of the state of emergency, like I didn't know all yes sir. Because this year, as some more kind, Kwame had to say, or Baby Nyansa, or Quack Pam Galamsey for not effiso. You see, or Babeto excavator, a good pot, I who Yansam, and this year, when the track is a boomer register for buying it, you don't mean Tierney or Babe can't come with you. Maybe say, I just want to know why I also AG government, the previous one said, on declare state of emergency, but on the bias, why I reluctant. I am confused. That's why. So you just continue.
Who use excavators, contractors working on our roads, quarries, and others all use excavators. And so it's impossible to just put a complete ban on excavator, but we must know where that excavator is going. If it's a construction company, they register it in their name. If they have a project and they're using it there, we know that excavator.
It was now he's giving examples based on the present tense. So he's saying, if it is a mining company, they will do that, but they haven't done that. You. But the moment government in here, excavators not about 3 or whatever happen on the that one they have done it. So let's continue.
That is being used for construction purposes. And so we now can hold the owners of excavators responsible if we find the excavator in a forest reserve or engaged in illegal mining. And so that's one of the advances that we have made. Where it makes it possible for us to know where every excavator is. So that if the excavator moves after where it was geo-fenced, then we can go and find out where did this excavator go and what is it doing where it has gone. And so that's what...
Say, me excavator. You understand? Me moving at the different location be am repair. Move me about the question is having to me moving excavator. It's never true. Unless it belongs to the government. I just say government property and a movie from the BN so why ever question. I just say I buying the paper police and you do could now post station now post. Now we feel one of my everybody has a true statement. I buying the map. That means the excavator belongs to the government. The government excavator no there. Me trackers above the PR. Your mobile tools no CC. By private ones now, what can one send there? Me sure like a boom ras. So I mean, come. Hey, obeti buy that track will be sir. Pay that money to be sir. Obi divide now money like why? I not very sad. Unless I just own your court order. Your court order and wait me. It is any on more case. On be movie excavator on be tracking any I don't know. Maybe the who say excavators now buy on baby tools now CC now distributing a big shy hills a big high big high. It's almost as if say I say your mother because claim obi anti hoshi obi am put up any fight. And excavators no social and your back a doff. It say a same person the turn now and now say a different people the turn now. And it say different people in the toy and you say if this person is afraid. That means they are all afraid. The government never want to make cash and no all because of when to provide the payment. I mean, come on, let's just think about it. So let's continue.
Help us with regards to turbidity of the water, as the scientist said. It's just about you can see physically with your eyes, what the turbidity of the water is. The thicker brown it is, the more coffee-like it is, the more polluted it is. The less it is, the less polluted it is. And so, like he said, we are scoring a few successes.
Officer just saying so no the more I near brown, like the more I say it is the more I need any brown and say near white, the more I appear. We just say common sense we all know.
Especially on the Ancobra. I believe the minister chose the Ancobra to start because it flows through his constituency. And so there are some successes, but like he said, we still have the Pra, we have the Dinsu, we have the Birim, we have the Ofin and all of them. But that means that we must get more manpower.
And don't say answer.
The Blue Water Guards have started work, and a lot of them are deployed on the Ancobra River. So far, we've recruited 1,000 of them. We pay them an allowance of, if you take away deductions and other taxes, of about 1,500 cedis a month. And so if we have 1,000 of them, and we pay about 1,500 a month, it means for a year, you're talking about roughly 18 million cedis. And that's for 1,000 of them. And so if we scale up, then it means that we need more money to employ more of them. But
I don't see how this should be an issue, because if they should employ people like security agencies who are going to work alongside the Gold Board, because this is the responsibility of the Gold Board, then I don't think they should seek for a budget, because then what would the profits earned through the Gold Board's transaction be for? Like, I don't see how a company should hire employees and a different company will pay them. Like, I don't see why the government should set aside the budget for people who are going to work for the Gold Board. Although the Gold Board belongs to the country, but I don't see how, if they can make money, if they make profit, just like how he said at the beginning of his statement, like, why should we set up like 18 million? That's not a lot of money. You are employing people. I mean, it will bring you more profit. They will do the work, more profit. So, what is the problem here? Like,
endorse it because it gives them an alternative source of income. Because as they are fighting the pollution of our water bodies, they are also earning an income as a kind of alternative livelihood. And so that is something.
Well, the guys, they also employ somewhere else or what? Does that mean you'll be taking double salary? Does that mean one person is having two jobs? Hey, maybe I didn't hear it.
That will have to scale up. And so the Minister of Finance in doing the budget must make extra provision. We also have to start reclamation, because it's not enough to just stop them and drive them away and leave the land scarred the way it is. And so there are a few companies that have worked with the United Nations, and they have come up with some trees that help to regenerate the soil and can also take out toxins from the soil.
Like eduabe na intimi nyesa like to say eduabe na intimi take out toxins enua we are seeing na betumi. What is this? And you need external people to share for our Ghana.
If you've heard about the Green Sahelian Wall that the United Nations was sponsoring, some of the companies involved there have also come and tried those crops in areas that we want to reclaim. And they say that the tests are positive and they can work with us. But of course, we need to use these bulldozers
all the time. The beer requesting something from white people. The beer all the time. I mean, your facilities, your Center for Scientific Institutes are home. These people, they are there. They work for the government. They are all there. When in faculties, department where universities are conducting soil science researches.
Recovered to level out the land before these vegetative, organisms are put in the land to be able to reclaim the land. So reclamation is one of the areas that we must look to. Happily, we should be able to get some support from green climate funds and a lot of these green funds to assist us in reclamation. But we must put our resources in first. The menace of illegal mining, and I've been trying to find out about best practice, and I found out that apparently we're not the only ones suffering. The high gold price is pushing a lot of people into gold, especially gold mining. So if you go to Peru, you go to Chile, you go to Zambia.
Like I know those things that me sure say Peru ni Chile ni San and Kofana work. Almost although they are almost prayers to see like almost yes comparison. I don't see how you should be that. Just country wants to
South Africa. South Africa, there have been some old pits that people have gone into, and there's violence.
That's South Africa.
Have died, all kinds of things are happening. So we might not be the only persons, but there are success stories we can learn from. Because if you look at Chile, for instance, they've been able to formalize 90% of their small-scale gold mining. It means 90%, they were in the same situation as us. But today, 90% of their small-scale mining is formalized. And they have control of it, they inspect, they make sure that they're doing the right thing. We can also
That's what I'm suggesting.
And so even though we're not alone,
we can achieve that, but we can't achieve that, say, but the constitution and say it will legalize small-scale mining. What mean yes, like to say, the kind of small-scale mining now would legalize it doesn't make sense. Just legalize regulated mining. There's no small scale, there's no big scale. Small scale mining, better have than a big scale. If they run the company well, big scale mining, better have small scale mining. If they don't run the company well, there's no difference between big scale and small scale. But the moment you say you specify, you legalize, or you sort of like imprint in the constitution that you have legalized small scale mining, people are going to operate within that parameter. Like they do not have it in their mind that they want to go forward in life. They just want to do things small. They just want to stay there, no matter what. And that is what you have done. That is what is causing this problem.
Facing that menace, I believe that we can use the best practices of Chile and others to also formalize our small-scale mining sector and make sure that we're able to take control of it. And that is part of what we tried to do when our colleagues died in the helicopter crash. We contacted the big mining companies. Some of them have concessions like 200 miles square. And they're not going to mine all of that concession today or tomorrow. There are some of the places they've explored and found that the gold content is so low that it's not really profitable for them to start mining. But for a small-scale mining company, because of their lower costs, they can mine it effectively, but they must do it responsibly. And so together with the big companies, we said, okay, let's start this cooperative mining, seed part of your concession, so that we can move the small-scale miners from where they are causing distraction onto your concessions. And then you can help us to monitor them and make sure that they are doing.
What state our constitution say you were regulated mining which is legal. A regulated mining, no, small-scale people cannot operate in it. It is so therefore, we are now constitution who say because of say people cannot afford regulated mining, what legalizes small-scale mining? And I cover problems be pre-aba. Problems be pre-na cover. Another solution is say, I want to suggest you and they say, who kwakọpa big mining companies now or more in Saskatchewan who kopa much of say into Monsa Saskatchewan now good and shed then is now omon yes workman omon farm na omon fast small scale miners ni enkonko guso not together we will know what you control small scale miners. Like how exactly can one arrive at this conclusion? Like what is the motivation behind, like what is the vision, what will happen after this, like this idea, what is it to achieve? To say kwakofa den aba enti small scale miners ne nkonko go big scale miners no mo nsa ase so na omo nsa ase na omo yeso adwuma no the government can get the opportunity to go and reclaim it. Then a day doing the business, like I don't understand to say some small scale miners now all protective or say to see or pamo or some more defense as I'm my adwuma also. These people who are causing trouble or some so like what is the point of that? So let's continue.
The right things. So that was what we were going to launch in Obuasi when the tragic accidents happened. The first was Anglo Gold. Anglo Gold agreed and they carved out.
Now, sir, big companies, you are putting them at a disadvantage. Hey, once one wants to mean financial assembly, a future prospect. So finishing your warriors where you are, or finishing in Navy. In Sasana concessions, we grade per quantity. Quantity, sorry. Like I said, the amount of gold on the land, we grade. And and we're prioritizing into feed them the most more weight and the less weight. That doesn't mean say it's the less weight, obey the amount nice can it is on what the amount you are putting him and asking the person in charge of the company and the company itself at a disadvantage. You are sort of like blocking their future path. Few ways no matter. Say by the time I do last one, that's Omunya as for so Omunya tupe as a company neguana. So like you sort of understand how disadvantageous this whole thing is to one side. Because we then have been your film. So far the minimum say small scale miners no in these three interactions, now said three body problem. Omunkwa no be benefiting. In what way? Baby omushe ye ba be two omudo different place. Afedi ye ba be regulate omo ho ba be top. It's omu kwanu minya fast we feel so. It's omu do at the end of the day omu lose free. I dey omu lose here asase omu to go. But omu say nya because big companies no omu concession omu concede bi amo. Into government no so e dey na onya film. Ade a onya film mean say one ma big company afa one time. At the same time, one ma small scale miner and small boy on also what na dwuna trick you. And our government now, who obi say was assassin, one person was a couple worker, as was a curriculum. To at the end of the day, government it puts you at the first position. You understand? But that is the mover who decided say. So let's continue.
The part of the concession. I'm happy to know that since then, Newmont have come on board and are going to assist with the cooperative mining. And some of the other bigger companies have agreed that they will carve out part of their concession so that we can move these illegal small-scale miners onto those places. And so we'll continue to do that. We also have the issue of geology and geological exploration. Currently, our mineral prospects have not been explored adequately. Happily, there's new technology generated by AI.
You see the funny things in say. Now he's talking about an advanced way on the first wire mining, like efficiently. It will be a whole buy also baby declare state of emergency. You understand? Because I'm out for a year pasa. It will be declare like stop. Everybody stop. Let's take our time and review everything from every angle and try and work our way through without causing any negative impact or consequence or effect as possible. So that is the reason why we buy. We buy in the moment. We will stop now all kind. And we here. I feel we to our casaswa. We say man discover more advanced ways. Move to Yafa. And the actual meanings no assassin. Now more quite. It means that what they want to baby child because I feel quite a baby in it's the end to us. Like Stone and Busan say, then will be near film.
Yeah, that allows those with the technology to partner with our geological survey department. And what they do is they shoot seismic from satellites and they're able to map out exactly where a mineral prospect is. Currently, when our small-scale miners get a concession, they go and dig.
First of all, I want to say something like, or say, Oma contacting some outside and external companies, they are capable of identifying resources using geological, technological means. So they can shoot, given a certain geological terrestrial, they can sort of like emit seismic waves. Seismic waves are like vibration that passes through the earth. You can use them for echolocation to identify the positions of things when the waves pass through the object due to obstruction, construction, or destruction, and on all those stuff. So, like, if they can do this, number one, we have never been to space. We do not have a rocket. We do not have a satellite, and as a matter of fact, we do not have any experience when it comes to astronomical matters. So therefore, we should not be able to sort of like include these kind of solutions in our arsenal of solutions when it comes to tackling like issues of socio-economical issues, because we do not have the capability. So we should not have the idea. We should not come up with. We should not include it in our solution. Say, idea you beat me. And definitely, it will be an offer as advice. The Pacono offers advice on only heavy on Kayo on Yabia. You understand? As any Pacona and the saw Monsa, Edo Moko, an astronomy department, and I say space department, and I space company. Eno Mukoko Dinkomo, and more satellite. It's ya Moka. Imagine Sika on Mitia, a car on Bepo. Send the Pacona and yes, I do. It's our contract. No. It's one case you can see the effort that they have put into that. And only effort that Oma put into say almost stopping Galamsey. It's now the effort they have put into continuing Galamsey, and then the effort that they have put into stopping Galamsey. It's one case we say one. You one case you can judge for yourself. Let's continue.
This place, there's not enough gold there. They leave it. They go and dig there, there's not enough gold. They leave it. They come and dig here, there's not enough gold. They dig here until they find something. By the time they find something and they're mining, they've dug all over the concession. Today it's possible to precisely map out where the mineral prospect is, and that's part of what Gold Board is trying to do. That is their other responsibility. That is to give geological survey money together with their partners to shoot the seismic for Ghana and show where exactly the resources are. And based on that, do PPPs with Ghanaian mining companies that will mine that gold responsibly so that they don't go around just digging everywhere. So that's one of the...
It is. So now the government is taking responsibility for identifying these resources in the land. After, we are overturn resources, they are not big companies, not big companies. So the MOMU will still time from digging unnecessary holes. That is their conclusion. That is their solution. That is their suggestion. I mean, it is so wrong in so many ways. It doesn't even make sense. Number one, the government. When I establish our constitution, say you legalize small scale mining. First of all, when I decide DEI concept in the by say there's a difference between small scale and big scale mining. It would have one dream who say the difference between opinion and color at time. A progress one dream wonder. Say who just small scale mining or by big scale mining. It's a who here say best to one say small scale mining should be legal. Well, who's that? Sadly, yes, here cover problems with prayer. Now, one can also just see some perfect solutions. Say, yes, state of emergency. Me stop BPR. I feel over the Tanaswa, overseas state of emergency, haphazardly, a premature, intino, 1 year. But one solution is say, over public companies, no, our more Sasiakasiana, actual say, or Monsas now good in shedding. On farm mount, now one farm mass small scale miners. 9 small scale miners, in free baby or more to mine. Embra Migu, assassin so. No more where not big scale miners for no. And monitor or more employ or more massage now move for free. Or more monitor regulate you together with the government. With the minimum say a prison camp with the I don't know. Not baby small scale miners the same. government ne nkopoka no reclaim. Now when you are question, will your offer? It's in because it's oh yes sir. That means you will put the big company at risk, like you will put them at a disadvantage because they are they are working on it for their future. But they see our own family. At the same time, almost are providing resources for regulation. It's the government and the other compensate these are big companies and they say on only between I'm an external company and as an outside company. In astronomical issues like say an astronomical company. Sorry. Now almost satellite on what me space pay. Now almost almost satellite. No more fire emitting radio waves and seismic waves into the earth. Near farm position in who baby a minerals piache. It a minimum test as a nibida mumdia, many should say, but San or can say, Sana company and so meets me high. It's only Fiesca. No company I sad. No, I produce seismic graph. You understand? I produce seismic graph. A topography, a topo sheet of baby a minerals near a topo sheet of mineral identification of the land of the terrestrial plane. Not or their move. We are not more than big companies. I didn't hear big companies. No, or detective baby amino as no. And sometimes to grow a ha, no matter to grow a ha, no matter to grow. I almost to grow with and son or baby amino as the shankasa. And here more wasted time and our resources. Here providers are to push it to be say a mom. Said the bear, you bet me a dear tio mocha for say omulisi or massase and the mass small skill minus now almost say in Satina, yeah, Kwaku, said the bear a boca, a dear reclaiming assassin. This is some fantastic logical idea. This is Usain Bolt logic. Let's continue.
Things that a Go board is going to introduce, and this fits into their track and trace system which they are going to launch, because we cannot export gold to the European countries because of LBMA restrictions. And yet, if we introduce a track and trace system, we should not.
But at the same time, no say companies no say more allow government to non tracking on tracing or more excavators no, so that no move never say I am good a good. I say best certified good. Not increasing the market, the price of market. Like I assume that's what he's driving at.
Not only be able to export to the Asian countries and the Middle East, we should be able to, once the gold has been tracked and it's known to have come from responsible sources, then we can
Are they going to track the gold or the excavators?
export it into the LBMA countries, and that allows us to get.
Okay, if the chain of custody is in reference to the good, like if they are tracking and tracing the good, I think that's a good thing. So far, one car, anything about the excavators, not what discover I know.
A much higher price, for our gold than we currently have. And so Gold Board has to activate that other aspect. Aside from that, we're looking at best practices for small-scale mining, because small-scale mining is not restricted only to Africa or to Ghana. It is done even in the advanced countries. And so
that's recognizes small-scale mining, say, a debut.
States of America. And that's why when I
also America, although there was small-scale mining, but it's not a concept. It is just a small company. Over time, it will grow. Artisan one now worker. Omo adventure for us. They are there. Omo Tomb Raider. I don't understand my name. I share movies no. By mining companies, you need big one and small one. A mining company, a fin was starting. A small. Maybe I was starting who was it was starting big. We was starting small. By over time, who are grown now by a we was starting a big. Why by a American news say small scale miners no more sense as in it but this don't come based on it and say something.
The other time I said that we're contacting some of them so that our small scale miners association could be sent to go and see that you can do this in a much better way than we're currently doing.
I don't know now because of conquest you are supposed to enforce. It's me sure say that is the reason why in the constitution when they stated that regulated mining is legal, Oman Frank wants a subtest say small scale mining too is legal. There's a reason why Oman answer. It's meaning the reason why a PNDC for buy or decide never become. You understand? Say what is the reason behind that? It is a nipa no person if the person wants to be a miner like a person to go there. Man is starting pepe. Do you know what this suggests? This suggests that if regulated mining is legal and small scale mining is also legal, then that means that small scale mining is not regulated. It is non-regulated. You understand? That is the problem. And if you want to solve this problem, then the only solution is regulate small scale mining. Stop them right now. Stop and educate them. That's all. If they fail this education, then the company collapses. If they don't, then the company closes. It's the same thing for everybody. I don't understand why you have to like sort of coin specialized conditions for certain things just to justify your actions. So let's continue.
We've trained a lot of geologists, we've trained a lot of mining experts. University of Mines and Technology has trained so many of our young people who have the technology and the ability to do so. And so the intention is to attach these graduates of UMAT to the district mining organizations, and they would help the district mining organizations to go and inspect the small-scale mining industries and make sure that they are doing the right thing. Normally what you do is before you start...
I just small-scale mining industries in America, no more shoot. Hey!
Must dig what they call a tailings dam to contain any water that you use to wash the gold. And so all the gold that you wash must go into the tailings dam and is contained. And after you wash the gold and you finish mining, you're supposed to cover the pits, and then after that there are chemicals that you can use to clean and detoxify the water. I'll come to that in a short while. But like I said, it's not an event, it's a process, but we'll never give up. It's a long journey, but we'll continue.
Still now, someone not can say it's a simple solution. But now when it's now in power, it's a long process. It's a long journey. Like you see, the time is money. So now they will need more time. Like you understand. Like see the whole point of this whole thing of saying that there's no need for state of emergency is they need time to do what, like and these are the things that they need time to do, and these things they are not important. Like come on, like just stop, regulate it, continue. That is all. Make profit for all of us. Just make the whole thing transparent. What is this?
To work on it. I like that somebody raised that. What are we doing to the kingpins? Because most of those 1,400 who have been arrested are
1,400
young youth who are looking for something to be able to look after themselves. And we'll prosecute them, we'll imprison them.
So you have managed to sort of like arrest 1,400 people who are not breaking the law, by the way. They are just committing environmental crime. But according to the law, small scale mining is not illegal, it's legal. But they are just committing environmental crime. Like they are just terrorizing our environment for all of us. They don't care about us or our future, so therefore they are arrested. I mean, I understand the reason why people fight back, because this is some kind of infringement of their on their rights. Because if it is in the law, if it is in the constitution that they have the right to do that, but you have to regulate this. I don't understand why they are kingpin though. Okay, anything involving money.
But those who run those operations are the ones that we must be arresting and imprisoning, not these little boys, And so we need to change our strategy. We can arrest the boys and all that, And I think that even if we send them, they should be given a leaner sentence by the judge, a slap on.
Yes,